for and serve the dissolution of the etheric body in the death process beyond clinical death. Let's consider now the instructions for the dying person. For those who are dying, relax, release, and let go as when going to sleep at night. Relax, release, and let go as when going to sleep at night. What is the fundamental instruction to be given to someone who has died? Let go. We Westerners, we like to make much of free will. Well, on the day we die, we discover something about free will. We may have had tickets to the ball game. We may have been planning to go shopping. We may have been flying to a conference in Australia. But on the day we die, we discover we are being lived by a great process. And we should therefore relax into it, release, and let go. Give yourself up to the ascending motion of the death process and let it carry you to a new form of existence above the body-mind. The motion of the death process is ascending. Energy and attention is exiting the physical body. It is an ascending motion. Give yourself up to that ascending motion. Let it carry you to a new form of existence above the body-mind. As Avatar Adidas Samraj says, you can indulge this materialistic point of view right up till the day we die. But on the day we die, everybody becomes a mystic. Give yourself up to the ascending motion of the death process. Keep attention in the center of the field of awareness. Keep attention in the center of the field of awareness. If a tunnel appears, keep attention in the center on the light at the end of the tunnel. Nowadays, over the last 20 or 30 years, people like Raymond Moody have compiled and published what we call near-death testimonies. And we hear in these near-death testimonies over and over again, people describing a vision of the tunnel. With the vision of the tunnel, we are seeing the very structures whereby consciousness becomes manifest. And in those testimonies, typically we hear that there are all kinds of people, places, and things on either side of the tunnel. Keep your attention on the light in the center of the tunnel. That is the most auspicious meditation in the death process. Meditate on the light in the center of the tunnel. Let go. Allow the process to unfold. And here in transcendental conscious light or spirit, which is deathless. How will you know you are adhering in transcendental conscious light or spirit in the death process? Because it feels like love. And here in transcendental conscious light or spirit, which is deathless, you will know it's the spirit because it feels like love. These are instructions for those serving the dying person. Let's consider these. The dying person needs to be protected, not only leading up to clinical death, but beyond clinical death. They need to be protected from invasive procedures. Sharon Kaufman, who is a medical anthropologist teaching at the University of San Francisco, documents in her book entitled In a Time to Die, she documents how hospitals shape the end of life. And yes, she makes clear that we need to make our last instructions legal They need to be memorialized in writing. They need to be made legal in the form of a testamental will and a funeral directive. But even so, even having made those instructions formal and legal, when we die in a hospital, the system will take over if we are not vigilant. We saw this happen when we were serving my father's death. The minute we were no longer keeping vigil around his body, and this was beyond clinical death, the minute we walked away for a moment, and he died in a rehab center in Florida, the minute we left that vigil, the body was taken away and transported to a funeral home with which the hospital worked. And my father had left very specific instructions about how he wanted to be treated in the death process. He wanted to be taken to the Neptune Society and cremated. The minute we stepped away, the body was transferred to a local funeral parlor. So the body needs to be protected. Our instructions need to be made legal. But when we die in hospitals, we need to be vigilant in order to have the kind of death we want to have.